Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Bump and Run video show. I'm Sid Rosenberg for OpenSports.com and, of course, the National Football Post. Week 5 is in the books, so here to help us out, sort all the action, former NFL safety and current writer with NFPost.com, former Redskins safety, Matt Bowen. Matty, how are you, pal?
I'm doing good, Sid. What's going on?
Nice to have you back. Another exciting week of football here. Now, Matt, the Jets had a chance to really take command of the AFC East on Monday night, but their defense could not get it done against the Dolphins. And now, all of a sudden, you got yourself a 3-team race, just like last year with the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Pats. Things have really tightened up there.
Yeah, I think that was a very telling game for perspective of all three teams. You look at Miami with Chad Henne; they're all of a sudden a different football team. They can throw the ball downfield, kind of loosens up that line of scrimmage, doesn't allow people to put 8 defenders in the box. And you look at New England, and they got some deficiencies right now. They got some issues. They can't throw the ball downfield. Their secondary got exposed by Kyle Orton and the Broncos. Then you see the Jets. That defense looked pretty average to me last night.
Yeah, no, it did. And as a Big Ten guy coming out of Iowa, I'm sure you could really appreciate, Matt, what you saw out of the Michigan quarterback, Chad Henne, for the Dolphins, and only his second start on Monday night.
Yeah, the most impressive thing about him was he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't take a sack. He could throw the deep comeback because he's got a pro arm. And he could, getting Ted Ginn involved, that's something this team has to do because he's a down-the-field threat, and he's a guy that could turn it on when the ball's in the air. I really like those two together moving forward.
Yeah, no question. Ted Ginn, a big 53-yard touchdown against the Jets on Monday night. After 5 weeks, Matt, we've got 5 undefeated teams and 4 winless ones. Who are the best of the best and the worst of the worst?
I think the best of the best is pretty much, it's got to be, you got to talk about the top 3. You got to talk about the Giants, the Saints, and the Colts. All 3 of those together, they all have different game plans. But, I'm still going to go with the Giants for now. I think they're the best overall team. And of the winless teams, how much longer can we say the Titans? I guess it is the Titans, but, maybe they are exactly what their record is because right now they're not that good of a football team.
No, I agree. I actually think the Rams may be worse than the Titans, but both of them have been awful this year. And, by the way, talking about the best of the best here, Matt, the Giants and the Saints, both 5-0, go head-to-head this weekend. Who do you think comes away unscathed in that one?
I got to take the Saints at home. In the Superdome, that place is haunted. Things happen. I like Drew Brees at home, and I like what Greg Williams is doing on defense. If they can stop the run, they can limit Bradshaw and Jacobs. They're going to get guys like Darren Sharper and Jabari Greer to make some plays in the football. I'm taking the Saints.
All right, fair enough. Now, last week we talked about the Broncos being for real here. Now it looks like we can say the same about the Bengals. 4-1 right now, leading the AFC North. They've beaten Green Bay on the road. They've beaten the Steelers. They beat the Ravens on the road this week. How about Marvin Lewis, the job he's doing in Cincinnati?
Great job. And what about Cedric Benson, Sid? The guy runs for 100 yards. It's been 39 straight games since the Ravens have allowed a 100-yard rusher. That was the key to the game. And Carson Palmer's making plays in the fourth quarter, just like he did in overtime against the Browns. He does it again yesterday on Sunday and makes a great play, throws a touchdown pass, and, hey, they're in first place. You can't not talk about them anymore.
Yeah, and also a very inspirational story, a sad story, actually. Mike Zimmer, longtime defensive coordinator, been all over the league, now in Cincinnati, was with Bill Parcells in Dallas. Comes home last week, and his 50-year-old wife is gone. She's dead. And the team really, really made it very clear they wanted to win this football game for Mike Zimmer as more than a touchdown underdog to win that game outright, Matt. That's quite a story for Zimmer and the Bengals.
Yeah, it is. And you can see, if you got to see after the game in the locker room, they showed it on some of the networks, you could tell how emotional he was, how emotional the team was. That's what winning football is about. When you win games and you win for a reason, it's a fun locker room to be in.
Now, as much as they love Zimmer and Lewis in Cincinnati right now, that's how much they dislike Jim Zorn in Washington. The team now up 17-2 over Carolina. They find a way to lose that game. They've lost 3 of their first 5. All kinds of rumors this week that Daniel Snyder had dinner again with Joe Gibbs, that Mike Shanahan's been talking to Daniel Snyder. There's no doubt that Jim Zorn is dead man walking. With that said, who do you think is next in line to coach your former team, the Redskins?
I got to go with Shanahan or Gruden. I think with Mike Shanahan, the only issue there is that Dan Snyder's going to have to turn over some of the personnel moves. I don't think he's ready for that. With Gruden, you're just getting a football coach. He's a straight football coach, and I think that's what he wants. He wants a football coach because he still wants to make some of those moves and play this game like he's playing Madden football.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, he's had Steve Spurrier, he's had Joe Gibbs, he's had Jim Zorn. He's had a ton of coaches here, some good, some not so good. But at the end of the day, it's got to come back to one guy here. You know, Jerry Jones had that Herschel Walker trade and won 3 Super Bowls with Dallas, so he's kind of off the hot seat here. But is this more about Daniel Snyder being the problem in Washington than all these different head coaches?
I think it's a product of not having a structure in the front office. I mean, who's the GM out there? Is it Vinny Serrato? Is it Mr. Snyder? Who's running the actual team? You know, I saw it when I was there. Coach Spurrier and Mr. Snyder butted heads on personnel moves. Coach Gibbs got to make a lot of the personnel moves. Who's making them now? You got to have a structure. You got to have an owner, you know, a vice president, a president of the team. You got to have a general manager. Then you have the coaches. Then you have the players. There's no structure there.
Yeah, no question. And it has come back to haunt this football team. They really have a rough year ahead of them inside that very tough NFC East. As always, Matt, terrific job. We'll see you again next week. Talk about some more NFL football. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Sid.
You got it, pal. Remember, you can follow Matt on Twitter at MattBowen41 and catch all of his great writing at nfpost.com. From Matt Bowen, I'm Sid Rosenberg. And as always, folks, enjoy the football.